Hey everyone, how's it going? Thank you all so much for stopping by to watch this video. My name is Symbal, and today I'm going to be showing you my personal best Minecraft speedrun numero 1. So this is my first time actually beating the game, and I got a 46-minute run. I know not very impressive, but I've only generated about 100 worlds, and this was the first time that I actually got to the end. And I have been like practicing the 1 cycles and everything, and I'm really hoping that I will be able to get a below 20-minute time some point in the future. But for now, we're just gonna be reviewing kind of what I did and what my thought process was here. So as you can see, we kind of spawned next to a body of water, and I figured that I would try and do some types of water strats here. Not exactly hyper modern because I was hyper slow. So yeah, I just figured that I would go grab myself a boat, get a bunch of wood, and see if I can find anything. And I noticed something kind of in the distance over there, off by the water. I wasn't really too sure what it was or if it was anything, because I couldn't really tell. But then as I got closer, I began to see that it was a nether portal. Also, sorry for the lack of sounds. I actually muted everything while I was recording this speedrun. I didn't mean to mute everything. I only meant to mute my voice because I didn't really feel like chatting to the microphone the entire time while I was running. And then, of course, turns out to be the one that I do well. But as you can see here, I have a nether portal, and there are 2 blocks of gold. And I was thinking that there might be a chest around here, even though I didn't see one. I figured I would just take another double check, and there was nothing. So get back in my boat, and I notice at the corner of my eye that there's a village. So now we're gonna head over to the village, try to get some of the iron that I'll need. And I'm thinking right now, okay, I'll go to the village and then I'll go back to the portal. And I honestly kind of forgot to check to see if the portal was even completable. But I did remember that it was like somewhat completable, and you'll see later that I end up having to do something which is kind of annoying, but that's okay. So the portal was somewhat completable, and I actually saw this shipwreck too, but didn't really go very well, and I got myself stuck in a hole, and I didn't really want to go and mine through all this sand to try and grab the iron that might be in there, because I'm not too sure, but I think if there's like a shipwreck that's beached like that, sometimes the chests don't spawn. Not too sure. That's probably wrong. Like, it probably still was a chest there. I didn't really bother checking, but yeah, anyway, so I just decided I'm going to do some village raiding. Not really routing the village that well, just trying to grab everything that I need, and trying to grab my beds. Didn't realize this house didn't have a bed. So yeah, I'm just going to be going around, and there's a blacksmith here, which I only just noticed, and this blacksmith is actually going to be quite helpful in the run. As you can see, I get 6 obsidian, and if I was a good speedrunner, I probably would have been in the nether in the next like 20 seconds or so. But now I just decided I would take my time, craft my tools, and continue, because I didn't have my iron yet, but I figured I would just make like some stone tools and keep going, and then once I had everything I needed and felt prepared, I would go into the nether. So that's the plan, just making the base tools right about now. Had to break that glass pane to get to the cobblestone here. And yeah, so as you can see, we're getting the rest of the beds. I have about 2 or 3 beds right now, and yeah, that brings us up to 4 total. I thought there was more than that. I think I have, 5. I can't count. Yeah, so crafting up the tools. Don't exactly remember what my thought process was here, but I think I just wanted to like do the traditional village strats and get my food, get my iron from the golem and from the villager trades, and then I would go back to the portal, grab the gold, and try to complete the portal. This guy was disappointing. He did not have the wheat trade that I wanted. So I'm just replacing that, hoping that a villager will come by and be my wheat villager. And there you go, I pick up bed number 6, and I think I'm going to go for 7, just because I wasn't very confident in my 1 cycle abilities. And there you go. We got 2 emeralds from this guy, which wasn't quite enough. So I had to go to these other hay bales, grab those, and get my final emerald from him. There it is, emerald number 3. Again, sorry about the lack of sound from Minecraft here. I did not realize that I would be muting every single audio track, including the game sounds. Definitely going to keep an eye on that next time around that I do this offline. And if you guys want to check me out on Twitch, it's twitch.tv slash the Symbal, because Symbal was taken. So check me out there. Drop me a follow if you're interested in watching me attempt to get a better PB than this one. This PB is definitely nothing to be impressed about. I think I'm somewhere like in 650th place, which kind of blows my mind that there are 650 other people that have like done this and submitted it, and now there's 650 people who got a better time than this, which clearly goes to show you like how many people are generating Minecraft worlds and just trying to get good at this block game. So yeah, that's my plan too. I want to get good at the block game. Hopefully one of these days I'll be in the top 100. That is the kind of intermediate goal. And then after I get top 100, I'm going to shoot for top 10. And yeah, I can learn about all of the fun stuff that Twitch has to offer. Yeah, so there you go. I got my final bread. And then I think I was looking for flint around here because I needed something to light the portal with, because I have all of the iron that I need to go to the nether. And being like the noob that I am, getting these 2 pieces of iron armor definitely comes in pretty clutch. Boom, MLG water bucket. You could see my like mouse shake there because I was kind of I don't like, whenever I do that, it's always a big risk because like as I said, not super great at the game, but yeah, it's always kind of a risk doing that because I have died a few times trying to do it. And here I'm crafting my shield so that I can have a little bit of an easier time in the nether. And I think, yeah, I'm going to use this water to get out of the ravine, screw it up, and then keep going up, except slower. There we go. And yup. I remember this. Yeah, and then I use my water bucket to get me the rest of the way out of here. And now, after 7 long minutes, I'm finally going to build my nether portal. I know that like the good speedrunners give up if they don't have a nether portal like maximum 4 minutes. So yeah, I'm definitely pushing the times here, but hopefully in the future I'll start generating worlds and I won't take I won't take garbage worlds anymore, or I'll try to do more of the hypermodern stuff. Like if this speedrun was to be done differently, I probably would have checked that shipwreck, because that could have been like my ticket and I could have avoided all of the village stuff I did, because I'm going to have to go to the bastion anyway to get my my ender pearls. So I may as well go there and get my string and obsidian. So yeah, and here I'm just like grabbing myself some gold to make sure that I have some stuff to work with when I get into the nether. And as you can see, there is a piece of crying obsidian. So I decided here that I'm just gonna sit here for 45 seconds and mine out this piece of crying obsidian. I think it's gonna take about 45 seconds. Not too sure. I was just double checking there that the spot was empty and that there wasn't a second piece of crying obsidian, because if there was 2, I most definitely would not have sat here and done this, and I definitely would have just found another lava pool or dug down and tried to find a lava pool. But nope, instead I just decided that I'm going to do this. This run is going pretty decent. This honestly was definitely not one of my best runs, but as you'll see, the nether does actually end up working out for me pretty well, and finding the end portal actually goes pretty well as well. Haven't had that much luck finding either of those 2 things before. I'm still not amazing at like nether travel or end portal finding stuff, which are definitely 2 things that I really have to work on if I want to get a better time. But yeah, as you can see, I finished up the mining and now I'm looking for a piece of gravel, and I see a little bit of gravel over here. So I'm going to go and pick that up real quick. try and get a piece of flint, and we get one on the third, which is quite lucky. And I'm pretty much ready to go. And then here is where it gets kind of interesting. Me being the smart aleck that I am, I decide that I'm going to try and light the portal while it's submerged in water, because that's how portals work in Minecraft. And then I realized that it's not going to work, and for some reason it didn't occur to me that it wouldn't work. But I guess now I know. And yeah, so now I have to plug up all of the water around it, get myself inside of this portal. This is another thing, like if I knew that I would have to go through this, I definitely would not have used this underwater nether portal. Like there is so much time being wasted here. I'm honestly surprised this run was like 45 minutes just because of this part. Like this part was brutal, complete failure right here. But yeah, now I know that if I'm going to be using one of these underwater portals, it has to already be blocked off, or I need tons of blocks to make it usable, because in the current state that it's in is just not happening. And then I try and light it again, but as you'll soon see, there are blocks above my head. So I'm really shitting the bed here. And we finally get this out of the way. There we are. So now I can plug up the rest of this portal, and I can finally enter the nether. After like 4 minutes of suffering trying to make this portal, it most definitely would have been faster to just travel or dig down and try and find a portal. But this is where it gets interesting. I spawned right next to a bastion. So I'm not super well versed with bastions. I think this is stables, like the piglin, or is it hoglin stables? Or it's either stables or housing. There's this bridge section here, but it's not bridge because there isn't like the 16 gold blocks with the bridge. But yeah, so I'm at this bastion here, and I see those 2 gold blocks. I honestly didn't really realize that I didn't have any gold armor on at this point. I thought for some reason that I'd just be fine. And then this guy starts coming at me, and I'm like, okay, gotta kill you. And another guy starts coming at me, and I realize that I'm killing the people I need to be trading with. So yeah, I just get rid of those 2. They were like the least problematic. I see this guy coming at me, and then all of a sudden he decides he doesn't want to come at me anymore. And again, did not occur to me that I should be crafting like a piece of gold armor. So here I am just throwing around all of my gold and trading. And I saw piglins there, but I have no idea where they went. They just kind of decided to leave. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is housing. I think this is the bastion that like all of the speedrunners find to be the best. So unfortunate that I spent so much time in the overworld just being trash. In some ways, this seed was definitely like a god seed. And as you can see, like I opened my inventory there and I already had 6 pearls. This piglin traded with me and gave me my pearls like really quickly. I'm still going to need some more, obviously. But that was a good start. I have my pearls. I think I'm getting some obsidian. But yeah, if this was a... if anyone else but me was doing this run, it definitely would have been a lot quicker, I would say. And I don't see any piglins here for some reason. They're not showing up. So I'm running back and forth, and I'm trying to remember from like the live streams and videos that I watch, like what this is, because it's all broken, and I'm not used to seeing like the staircases broken like this. And as I keep going up, I'm like, okay, I remember that there's like staircases here, and there's a gold block buried in these walls. So I just throw some gold, and then I go into here and I mine this gold block. And then I remember that you have to kind of go upwards when you're in these bastions. I'm doing some inventory cleaning. So you're gonna go upwards, and there are a few more gold blocks like on the upper section here. I couldn't really find too many of them just because I haven't done my research very well, haven't done my training. I did watch a couple videos on it, but definitely not as many as I definitely didn't study it super well. So I think my next goal here is my next learning here will be to make sure that I'm studying bastions a little bit better. And I'm realizing like after throwing this gold that this lava is going to be a problem. So I try and block it off. so that my stuff doesn't get burnt, my trades don't get burnt. And I think that worked pretty well. And then some reason I go to the top. I don't think there's ever anything at the top. And then I also, for some reason, think that there are gold in the walls here, which there might actually be, but if I recall, there's nothing really of value there. So yeah, I'm just running around trying to get my trades in. Got some crying obsidian, and I check these chests, and I'm like, oh dang. And immediately I have enough obsidian to make another nether portal, which is amazing. A great start to the nether. So I'm just going to be continuing my trading here, running around like a total noob, and for some reason I gave that piglin a place to escape, and he was probably just going to hang out over there. And for some reason the piglin doesn't attack me, which in hindsight I'm not sure why, and that was me failing to do an MLG block place. Yeah, so there's another trade. I'm just starting to throw gold in random places, and I think I decide that I'm gonna put that dude in a hole somewhere so he doesn't run away from me. And then I come back and pick up some of his trades later, yeah. So he's on a perfect spot for me to just dig a nice 1-block hole, and then I drop him a whole bunch of gold. Probably should have given him some more, to be honest, just because it was tough. I know that's like super inefficient trading going on right here, and there are ways to find more piglins, but like I killed a few of them from the other side of the bastion, and these guys, like, yeah, they I don't think you're usually supposed to trade with the piglins in this side of the housing bastion. Yeah, so I just kind of run around until I find like an individual piglin, and I accidentally hit that guy, and now he's mad at me and he won't trade with my gold anymore. But I just toss him a bunch more, and I figure, okay, maybe he'll get unaggroed and I can just like throw that in there, and maybe he will decide that he wants to be my friend again and give me some more trades. And we're kind of struggling here with the pearls. I don't really need the string because I already have the beds. But I do get the potion of fire resistance, which is nice. And I'm really close to having everything that I need to get out of here. But unfortunately, the pearl trades were not really in my favor in this bastion. And I didn't really have a lot of piglins to trade with, which is another problem. I should have been trading with like 5 or 6 piglins. I couldn't find all of the gold I needed, so this was just like not a great bastion run, and now I definitely understand why it's important to make sure that you are like studying up on bastions and making sure that you know all of the strategies for bastion trading. And for some reason this guy just ran away from the gold, so I throw him the last bits of gold, and I'm thinking like, oh, there's that piglin that I left somewhere over here, but I've already forgotten where that was, and I decide I'm going to look upward because I think that I traded with him up here, but it's actually a lot lower. And I pick up some of those and keep looking. I'm like, okay, wait, was it here? Was it there? And I keep questioning myself. I think there might have actually been a second pillar identical to this one if I just dug a little more to the left. I only ended up exploring one of these like one of these ramparts of the bastion, so I'm still looking for him. I can't find him. It's like, come on, man, really? Short-term memory loss at this age? So yeah, there it is, and then this guy has all his trades. I think I just kill him because he is no use to me, and I see some pearls. I'm like, oh sweet, and I only get 11, which is like, come on. I also see those iron boots down there, and I just throw those on because why not? You may as well. Seem to be pretty useful. And now I basically almost have full iron armor, and I'm 20 minutes into a run, and which is pretty good for me. I almost have all of the pearls I need, which means like I'm 20 minutes in, I'm like doing pretty good, and I need to just complete this. Like my goal here is just to complete the run. So I make some more of my bread, and I'm like, okay, I have basically everything I need. I just need a few more pearls, and then I can kind of go on the hunt for a fortress. And there you go. Those are the last pearls that I need. And with that, I kind of get out of here and I begin to look around. So I see that I'm positive, and in my experience doing this, I noticed that if you kind of just choose one direction to go in, that's like the most, at least from what I've seen from exploring a few nethers, it's usually the most likely if you just pick one direction and try to get into a different quadrant of the nether, and that's kind of where you'll find the nether fortress. So, and that's what I've kind of learned from watching streams too. I think I was generally heading towards negative Z, but then I also figure like, okay, like I can go negative Z, but I'll try just in case. I'll go a little bit of like double negative stuff here. So negative, and I figure that it's better to be in like a double negative quadrant than to be, and here I definitely could have made that jump. I don't know why. I think I was just being careful here because I was, I usually don't really get this far. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to be extra careful with my pearl throws and everything. And that was a pretty good pearl throw. I should also practice pearl throws because the amount of times that I've just been killed instantly from a shit pearl throw is kind of crazy and kind of unlucky. And you'll see a little bit later in the run here that the run was almost ended by me screwing up one of my pearl throws. So, and I think doing that also slowed me down significantly, as you'll see eventually. So yeah, I'm going mainly negative Z, but also kind of negative X. And I don't see anything here, and I figure I'm at like 250. If there was a fortress around here, I already would have seen it in this like negative, kind of negative positive quadrant. I would have seen it already. And then here, for some reason, I'm like trying to dodge this guy and grab the lava bucket so I can kill him, and he really yeets me over there. Just boosted me. That was really funny. Yeah, I figure like, I don't know if it's working. So then I decide, I'm trying to figure out if I should go over to that side of the lava pool and pearl. And I think I decide to go even further into the negative quadrant, if I recall correctly. And that was just another failure of the MLG block placements. It's probably something else I should work on, but I'm going to focus on like the core strats and then worry about the movement a bit later. So main goal is just to make sure that I get my overworld done really quickly, get into the nether, and then really like work on the bastion strats, because the nether fortress is pretty basic. The biggest, like, I think complication is bastion strats, and for me at least, finding the end portal. I've had trouble with that a few times, and I had some runs that were leaning into like 35 minutes and I had everything that I needed, and I just couldn't find the end portal for the life of me. Just ended up digging around, and now I think we're in about positive negative now. And this is, okay, never mind. We're in extra negative. So we're kind of positive negative. There wasn't really anything there. Now we're negative, nothing here. Almost die there. And then I figure, I'm like, okay, so if I've already checked 2 of like the 4 quadrants. One of them had the bastion, so that means the fortress has to be like negative positive. So I start heading back in the positive direction, and I'm deciding whether to pearl here and use up another one of my pearls, and I think luckily I decide against it, and I'm just decide to boat down, which I think was a smart move, because I ended up needing, I think, most, if not all, of the pearls. I actually had really good Eye of Ender luck this game. And here I remember I'm like, oh, I have soul speed. And I think right here I can kind of see something that looks like a nether fortress. There are some bricks in the distance, so I just start going. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go this way and see if I can find it. So I just like try and place every single block here. I think soul speed is helping me speed it up, but it like decides it's going to slow down every 2 or 3 blocks, which was kind of annoying. And there I can see it. I'm like, okay, finally I'm going to pearl. I shoot my pearl nice and high, and I hit the ceiling, and I'm in the lava, and splash potion. And I'm at half a heart, which was crazy. And I have about a minute on the splash potion, which is really lucky considering how far down like it was and how far away from me it hit. It still managed to splash me with enough time. So that was almost the run right there. Yeah, that would have been bad. That would have sucked. Honestly, probably not. Wouldn't have been the worst thing, because I didn't I haven't really come that far in this run, so I was like, all right, whatever. And then here, I'm just like, fuck it. I'm swimming through the lava. I have this fire resistance potion. I'm gonna just try and get to it. I had enough time. Burning up, and now we can finally get into the blaze rod portion of the run. This is not nearly with the same amount of speed and reliability that you would see from a really professional speedrunner. But for a first try, for a first successful attempt, I think this is pretty decent. There are definitely lots of things that I can learn from the mistakes that I made in this run, and definitely going to use some of the mishaps and mistakes to better my future runs. But yeah, it is pretty exciting to get your first PB. And as you can see, there's still going to be there's going to be a couple moments here where you're just going to be like, wow, that was a little bit of a screw up. Here I'm deciding what to put my FOV on, and I think I decide on 100 because I actually kind of did like playing in Quake Pro. I didn't really realize that I wasn't in Quake Pro for a while there, and I think it actually made some of the block placement easier, but it did kind of distort the vision a bit. I'm playing on a really big 24-inch monitor, so I kind of like having the bigger field of view. I don't know, I like being able to see in the peripherals rather than just a little bit in front. And I'm very proud of myself here, not getting withered. I usually screw up my wither kills, and here I'm actually doing really good. I don't usually do this good against the mobs in these fortresses, but I did have some pretty decent luck, and the blaze spawner in this map, man, I should have reset so many times here, but once I get one structure done in the nether, I usually try my best not to reset unless the nether is just impossible to navigate. And this time it was decent, it was somewhat navigable, or however you say it. There we go, we get some diamonds, and this room usually means there's going to be a blaze spawner on these ramparts somewhere. So here we go, slaying the withers, miss my swing, and dead. And then this blaze begins to shoot at me pretty often, and I don't know what happened there. I think oh, okay, yeah, so the blaze shot right next to me. I swing at him, I get a hit on, but he's a little bit too far. That was a nice block. I was very proud of that one. And the blaze is kind of just floating in space, so I can't really get to him. And I decide I'm going to head this way, try and find a blaze spawner. Still don't see one, which is kind of annoying. They're usually pretty close to that lava room. But yeah, then I decide, okay, I'm going to head up here. Maybe it's up here. I'm looking around, see nothing. Blaze is shooting at me. Still nothing. So I'm like, okay, this is getting ridiculous here. Come on now, where's my blaze at? And then boom, right there. And what am I supposed to do with that? It's covered in lava. So I decide to boat down, almost fall into the lava, which would have been the end of me again. But luckily not. And then I'm like, okay, I will use this blaze spawner, and I had no blocks, and I needed to build up. I also didn't want to get sniped by the blaze, so I grab some blocks here, and then the blazes are really freaking out. I'm hearing lots of blaze sounds, and I don't really understand where, I didn't understand where I got hit from, but now I realized that poking that little hole in the lava, the blaze can still shoot their fireballs through that little hole. And I do end up realizing that that's where I was getting hit from, but I'm looking around, I'm where are the blazes? It sounded like there were so many around me in my headphones, but it was just the ones from the spawner, and they were all sniping me through that little lava hole. So I block it up. I'm like, okay, it must have been from there. And now I'm like, okay, I don't have any blocks. Crying obsidian it is, and I have 20 obsidian, so I figure that I will have enough obsidian to use in the end. And this guy drops one into the lava. Would have been the first rod, but unfortunately it was not. I hit this guy from around the corner. Doesn't drop one. If that first guy had dropped one, like, and I picked it up successfully, I probably would have been out here a few seconds faster, but really didn't have a huge impact because I ended up having to wait around quite a while for these guys to spawn. And yeah, there have definitely been runs that have been like better than this, and that I've been out of the nether by now. But you know, as I said before, still learning, so I figured I would just continue it for as long as I could and just try and complete the run, because I still hadn't completed a run at this point because I would die in the end, or I wouldn't find the portal and get frustrated. So yeah, like in comparison to my other runs that were about like an hour, I'm pretty proud of the fact that this was 45 minutes or so. Spawns like right on top of me. Honestly, if I didn't have this iron armor on, this is where it really comes in clutch, because I'm like not really taking very much damage, and I'm used to taking like a good 2.5 hearts of damage per hit, and then the flames usually like bring you down like 3 or 4 hearts, so you really can't like be this close in combat with the blaze. But here I'm having some pretty good luck with like getting the armor. Was very lucky, and I'm doing pretty well. I can be really like up in the blazes business and not have to worry too much about losing health. That guy drops another blaze rod, and as you'll see like towards the end here, once I'm done with this spawner, there was actually another spawner that would have been so much easier to handle. I kind of put like a barrier behind me to make sure that I didn't like drop into that lava fall, and there it is. There's the second blaze spawner. I'm like, shoot, but I'm already here. I already have 3 blaze rods. I've set myself up nicely. I'm like, you know what, I'll just continue hanging out here. I probably could have been going back and forth like with some MLG parkours, like right there, just jump onto that. But I decided against it. Yeah. And I'm probably going to have to double check that my speech lines up with my gameplay here. That shouldn't be too hard. Alright, I'm going to describe something to my future self just so I know exactly where to line it up. But I'm going to wait for just the right moment for something to happen. I'll do it like the moment I drop 8 blaze rods. I'm just going to say 8 because I think I go for 8 blaze rods. Just in case, because I have had a few runs again where all of my Eyes of Ender just broke and I would end up in the end room and I just wouldn't have enough blaze rods. So I figure like, man, I may as well go and get 8 this time around, just because I don't want to have that happen again where I end up in the end room and I just don't have enough blaze rods. But in hindsight, I don't even have enough ender pearls here, so going for 8 doesn't really make sense. I should have gone for 7 because I only have 13 pearls. But 8 it is. I figure I'll get 8. I'll be super safe, and I can always like kill an enderman in the overworld or something. And yeah, just gonna keep hopping around, really risking it. 3 spawn. This is probably gonna be it for me. Like, I'm not gonna die, but this is probably gonna be where I get my rods. This guy's really up in my business, so I was just blocking him to make sure he didn't hurt me too much. And there's another one. And I think 8. So there you go. I have 8 blaze rods in the inventory, and I'm finally getting out of here. And I'm looking at my coordinates, and I know that there's like blind travel in the nether. So that's basically where you just build a nether portal about 230 to 270 blocks in the nether coordinates will get you to about a spot where a potential end portal can be, rather than running all the way back to your original portal. So I'm going down on the X. I'm trying to increase it to negative 230-ish. And I'm trying to move the Z to positive because I've seen negative positive end portal spawn. And I think this actually might have been a mistake going this way, and I should have done double negative. But again, I couldn't have known. So I just decided to build it right here. So this is the blind travel portal. I think for next time when I do blind travel, I'm going to do the same like axes. So I'll do positive, positive, or negative, negative. because in my experience, that seems to be where the end portals spawn, the strongholds. I should probably stop calling them end portals. And yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. 10 more minutes, ladies and gentlemen. It's crazy to think how fast some of these people find, like, the end portals and just how perfectly it works out. Like, you can have a run that's just going so well, and, like, you're out of the nether, like, 7 or 8 minutes, and then the rest of your run is just trying to figure out where the heck this portal is. So I think the angle there was about negative 150. So I'm going to keep heading towards that direction. And as you can see, this is really going to start dropping my Z, which is why it probably would have been better to do a negative, because now I have to run all the way, probably about 1,000 blocks, which is a little bit less than I would have had to otherwise, but it's still not great. So yeah, now we're heading towards a negative 150 angle or so. I think I start heading a little bit off center to see if I can do any triangulation, but I still thought for some reason that the portal would have been, or the end stronghold would have been negative positive, but so I throw another eye here and it goes the exact same way, and I think it's right about here that I realize that the stronghold is probably going to be double negative. So yeah, gotta go retrieve the eye, get shot by a skeleton twice. Taking some damage here. I'm just really focusing on running, not really too concerned about my health. And it's kind of like cool that there's a thunderstorm going on here. Wish I had the sound, but it was kind of cool. It was like I'm going to fight the Ender Dragon, and there's a thunderstorm going on around me, getting attacked by monsters, and it's like everyone's trying to stop me from killing their dragon. So yeah, just doing a little bit of overworld travel. It would have been so much easier with an ocean. Yeah, honestly, I kind of see why hypermodern is good in so many different ways. Like, you can get to the nether so fast, and if you're in a world that's mainly ocean and you have a good nether, if you do a blind travel, like, the odds are that you're going to end up over an ocean, and then you'll see the exposed stronghold, and you might even see the exposed portal room. And with like all of those factors coming into play can make your run really fast. So I think like having a world that's mainly oceans is probably ideal for trying to set like a new record. Yeah, that seems to me like that makes a lot of sense now. Now that I'm seeing like how much time overworld travel takes just like on foot, no saddle. I mean, I had a saddle, but I didn't see any horses. There's no planes. I have like the worst terrain possible in the middle of a forest. I throw it again because I'm still holding out hope. Just double checking the angles. I'm like, all right, maybe it's here, and then nope. Still quite a bit of travel to go. I got really lucky in the end fight, as you'll see very soon once I finally get to the stronghold. Yeah, this travel is taking me quite a little bit of time, but that's alright. It's alright. Going along. I honestly don't really know what's going on anymore. Nah, I do. We're just running. There isn't really too much to say here. But yeah, the hypermodern stuff seems very, very, very cool, and honestly seems the most likely way that a new record is going to happen. So if you find yourself in a world that is mainly ocean, that is definitely the one to try and go for to make a run work. And probably learning about the underwater temple strats would be a good idea too. Here, I don't really know why I paused. Probably just checking like my text messages or something, as I was in the middle of, I was just like in the middle of this run, and I figured like, I'll just, take a quick break. Not a big deal. Just running up the timer a bit more. In-game time doesn't change when you just take a break, so not a huge deal. I think I'm back. Yep, there we go. And piggy. Yeah, I think at this point I kind of just began to run. Just like run. And I know that my X is getting really like close to -13, which I think is like the border on the X where you can find a stronghold. So I think I'm getting ready to throw one of my eyes very soon. And then we get into a plains, which is super helpful. Yeah, I think like -12, -1300 in general is the like lowest number that you can find a stronghold in. So I get this angle and it's very close to like straight ahead on -Z. So it wasn't exactly, it was about like 175 or so. So I figure, okay, I'm just gonna head straight, and then now I'm trying to do some triangulation. Like, okay, I'll go this way. I kind of remembered the trajectory was like on top of that snowy mountain. So I'm gonna go this way a little bit and see if the eye like curves for me, and then I might be able to find the end room. So we gotta go up over here, and still running a little bit. Now my X begins to increase again, which I think is a good sign. Or I guess decrease. The absolute value of X begins to increase. And there we go. So it is like right about there. I'm thinking like right there on the mountain, and my first eye breaks. I'm like, oh boy. So it is right up on this mountain somewhere, which is very good. I'm like, yes, this is the one. And honestly, I'm very impressed how quick that end fight was. Considering how long the rest of this run was, the end fight in comparison was very fast. So here I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and block up. I think it's directly below me. So I grab some blocks, I build up just in case the eye decides to go down. I might still be able to retrieve it. And this pillar actually ends up working in my favor. So now I'm like, oh, it's still going that way. Okay. So I grab it, and I would have thought it was right there. So I'm going this way, and I'm going to see if I can triangulate it and pillar up. I'm expecting it to go back kind of like the direction that I just came from, but it decides to curve that way. So I'm like, oh, so now it's right about where my cursor was pointed, and maybe like 50 blocks or so. It's like right there. Just based on math, it like has to be like right here. And I used the two pillars that I made to try and figure out what the triangulation was. So I kind of spot my old pillar in the distance through the snow and the new pillar, and I use those two as like reference points to try and figure it out. And here I just build up one last time to see where the eye goes, just in case it's not that way, and it goes that way. So now I'm like, okay, it has to be like right there. So I kind of grab a spot. So I think it's going to be here. And then I remember like, oh wait, you're supposed to dig down in 9-9 just in case you enter the starter staircase. So I look for 9-9 in the chunk, and then I go down. And yeah, now we are heading to the end. And this makes me very happy because I usually don't find the end portal this easily. Like, it takes me quite a bit of time to find the end portal. Like, I'll dig down, I'll start digging around but this time I get really lucky because my triangulation actually worked out. Most of the other times I like completely fail, or I don't even realize that the eye actually went up instead of down. So this is a very satisfying ending to this run for me. Not too sure why the game paused. Honestly, might have gone to go and get a drink of water. Got to get myself nice and prepared for the end fight. We're going down. Unfortunately, had to dig for quite a while because I started on top of a mountain, which is another thing that did not help save time. So yeah, we're just going straight down, and finally, the end. There it is. The I Spy achievement has been achieved. I already have all of that, and now it's time to start looking for the room. So I see a creeper, he goes kaboom, and then I'm like, okay, I remember learning from someone that it was like this backwards door thing. I'm like, ooh, emerald, because we're in extreme hills biome, so that's where emeralds spawn. And I'm like trying to use this backwards door strat, but it doesn't really seem to be working, and the skeleton's really getting on my nerves. So I just came through here and I decided I'll go back, try and check this way. Absolutely nothing of use. So we're going. And here's a backwards door. I was like, all right, good. Another backwards door. And this, I think, is the starter staircase. I just like take a look. I'm like, yep, looks like it. So now we are in the starting room of the end, and there's usually about 3 or 4 doors away, and I get really lucky by deciding to go this way because I can see it through this door that is the portal room right there. And I try and mine this out, and the silverfish is just being a bully. So I'm going to place my block down in the middle there, jump on it, and complete the end portal. And I leave the last one. I eat just in case I end up on a platform because I don't have a pearl. Checking my inventory, I'm like, ah, shoot, should have saved a pearl. But it ends up working out because it was a 1-eye, and here we are in the end. Actually, very surprising about how quick this end fight goes, and how badly it almost goes too. So I pull up my obsidian. I'm like, all right, I'm going to use this obsidian, and I'm going to build the platform for the 1 cycle. And I'm so proud of my 1 cycle because I was practicing it for like quite some time in the Emma's practice world. And man, was that ever a good idea? So I throw up my cords, and I think the dragon is perching right now. I'm like, what the actual hell? I don't have any of my beds in my inventory. I'm super slow with the hotkeys. So I try to go now, and the dragon's like, nope, not today, sir. So there we go. And then I just hide behind this platform. I'm like, please don't hurt me. I am noob, please. So I go back, and I'm really hoping that bed the dragon broke is still there because I don't trust myself with the 6-bed 1 cycle. Definitely a little bit panicky here. But yeah, and then I'm like hanging around. I'm like, okay, this is fine. And then just hanging around, waiting again. I'm like not expecting the dragon to perch anytime soon because he just did. So like, why would it perch again? But there you go. Now it's heading to perch again. I'm like, oh my god, you have to be kidding me. Those are 2 of like the quickest perches I've ever seen. And I'm like, okay, this is the time. This is where all of my practice comes in. So there we go. 3 nice hits. I accidentally scrolled too far using the scroll wheel, and boom, that's the end. And now you can hear my reaction. What the fuck? Yo, I got an under hour. What the fuck? Oh my god. All right, F3/seed. There it is. And we gotta go to mods. Here are my mods. Gotta go to options. We'll check them out the video settings. There you go. What else do I need to show? I'm gonna check right now. Cool. Wow, that's so exciting. I can't believe I did it. So that's all, guys. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to leave me a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.